Before moving into the halachic difference between the position of the Mishnah and that of Rashi, I would like to present some background information with respect to Ben Hashmashot. In Gemara and halachic literature, there are three definitions for this time period. Option 1, that it has a status of possibly day, possibly night. It is the inability to identify the precise point the day ends and the night begins that Ben Hashmashot has the status of a safek. It remains undefined. A second option is that Ben Hashmashot is a combination of both day and night periods. In this case, it is not a safek, but rather a period that has independent status. Not day, not night, but a combination of day and night. The third option presented in the literature is that it is neither day nor night, but an entity unto its own. In other words, rather than the two stages of day and night, we also have a third stage, that of Ben Hashmashot, that takes place twice during the 24 hours of a complete day. It will be the contention of the Rebbe that definition 2 and definition 3 for Ben Hashmashot will be reflected in the two positions of Mishnah and Rashi regarding the Tahara procedure of a Metzora that took place either during the Ben Hashmashot prior to sunrise or the Ben Hashmashot following sunset. But first, a more practical issue that relates to the topic of Ben Hashmashot, and that is with respect to the timing of a brit milah. Vayikra 12:3 mandates that the brit milah should be done on the Yom Hashmini. The number 8, interestingly enough, surfaces in two other instances: the consecration of the Mishkan, and 2, the korban component of the Metzora who had been healed. Regarding the Brit Milah, a question arises as to a situation where a baby is born Ben Hashmashot, and the halacha is that the Brit Milah is performed on the 9th day from the baby's birth. This on account of the fact that its birth during Ben Hashmashot could, according to one opinion, technically be the beginning of the next day. Brit Milah being a Torah obligation and Ben Hashmashot having the status of a safek, the principle is that sfeika doraita l'chumra. On issues involving Torah law, such as Brit Milah, we adopt the chumra position. In this case, we postpone the Brit Milah to the following day. This is also the halacha when a baby is born Ben Hashmashot Friday night, where there we have an additional issue, and that is whether or not the mitzvot aseh of Brit Milah can override the mitzvot lo ta'aseh of Shabbat. Because the Brit Milah of such a baby is a safek daraita, in other words, this will be deemed to be a Friday birth, it would not override the Shabbat restrictions. Safek daraita l'chumra. Turning now to the more abstract issue of the Tahara process of a Metzora, a close reading of the Mishnah suggests that the words Kol Hayom Kasher Taharat HaMetzora is not that it may be done at any time during the day, but rather must be done only during daylight hours. This view is also reflected in the Torah Kahanim when it writes Melamed. The words Torah HaMetzora Bayom informs us Shetumato v'Taharato can only take place Bayom during daylight hours. Accordingly, Ben Hashmashot, according to option 2 and option 3, does not meet the test of Yom, and therefore the Tahara procedure of a Metzora done during Ben Hashmashot would be deemed to be invalid. Rashi, on the other hand, frames the drash in the negative. Melamed she'ein metaharin oto balayla. The Tahara procedure cannot be done at night. The period of Ben Hashmashot does not meet the test of nighttime, and therefore the Tahara process of a Metzora done during Ben Hashmashot, according to Rashi, would be valid. In footnote number 23, the Rebbe points out that this halachic distinction between the position of the Mishnah to that of Rashi, on the surface at least, would be valid according to the second definition for Ben Hashmashot, that it is a mixture of both day and night, and also to definition number 3, where Ben Hashmashot is deemed to be an entity unto its own. According to the first definition, that the status of Ben Hashmashot is one of safek, possibly day, possibly night, In which case, as we noted earlier, we are dealing with a Torah law and Sveika Doraita L'Chumra. The outcome would be that both Rashi and the Mishnah would deem the Tahara process done during Ben Hashmashot as invalid. However, as a footnote to the footnote, the Rebbe suggests that even according to definition number 1, in which Ben Hashmashot has the status of a Safek, Rashi would differ from the Mishnah. The Rebbe, quoting from the Tzafnat Paneach, the Rogachova, who was the most abstract, innovative Torah scholar of the early part of the 20th century, who places the status of Ben Hashmashot into the same category as an animal identified as the Kvi, and also comparable to the status of the modern-day individual suffering from gender identification, the androgynous. In all three situations, there is a combination and lack of demarcation between two separate entities.